This is Neil Schneider for MTBS-TV at CES 2015. I'm at the ImmersiON-VRelia booth. To my immediate left is Manuel Gutierrez. He's CEO of ImmersiON-VRelia. Welcome to the program, Manuel.
Hey Neil, how are you?
Things are good. I mean, obviously, CES 2015. A lot of it is about virtual reality and immersive technology. What's ImmersiON-VRelia showing today?
Well, yeah. First of all, it's a very interesting show. Yeah, 2015. It's a great year for VR. We have got a great response from the public, from the audience, from everybody, and it's interesting to see the response, around us. And what we're showing today and at CES is three things. We're showing what it's called the Go, which is one unit for mobile phones. Then we have the Pro, Blue Sky Pro, which is a professional-grade version of a head-mounted display, and we're showing the Alter Space concept, which is a platform for distribution. And that's what we're showing.
Excellent, excellent. Well, let's talk about the Go first. I mean, I take it there's a smartphone in here. Can you elaborate how the Go works?
Sure. I mean, it's pretty easy. I mean, basically what we have is a system where you can hold any smartphone in the market, pretty much from iPhone 4, 5, 6, 6 Plus, and Note 3, Note 4, or a Galaxy S4, S5, and even a Samsung Note 3 and Note 4, or LG G3. They all fit in, and any phone fits in as long as it's about 6 inches diagonal screen. So all you do is just you put it here, close it, and what we have is optics that allow you to adjust your focus for each eye, so you don't need to wear glasses when using it. And then the separation between your eyes, because we want to target the majority of the population, so from kids to adults, and independently of the glasses that you use. So if we take into account that we are targeting a lot of citizens and people with this device, and also a lot of cell phones or mobile smartphones that are already out there in the market, then this becomes an option to turn and transform all that existing installed base of smartphones into a virtual reality engine, So we don't want to get stuck with one single unit. So we believe that by enabling all these users out there, they will have a great experience, a VR experience. And we know that there are different cell phones out there, and they all have a different performance index. So we have worked very hard, and we're working very hard still in perfecting the fact that the performance of the applications should be a function of the architecture where it's running. So the user gets at least the same experience as close as possible to the highest quality, and at the same time balancing on the performance of the device.
Excellent, excellent. Well, speaking of content, what types of content are you excited about to be running on the Go?
Well, I mean, we're excited about everybody creating new content, from applications, gaming, or training and education, and all the different gamuts of application. We have got a lot of feedback from everybody, going from real estate to tourism to entertainment, education, video, 360 video, 3D. All that kind of applications have told us that they are so interested on porting their existing application and content, and then being able to deploy it to potentially millions of people out there who already have a smartphone.
Now, one thing, I think maybe we've discussed this a little bit before. I understand you have a working relationship with NASA. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it's a working relation. It's interesting. We were exhibiting at the Ames Research Center in October at their open house. We were honored to be invited to present with them at that open house, and we were showing the first prototype of this unit, and that was just 4 months ago. What we did is that we acquired their data sets from the elevation maps from the Moon and Mars, and some spaceships and asteroids, like the International Space Station, the Apollo 11 and all that. And they provided us with those data sets. So we drag and drop them into the Alter Space, and then we were showing it to the public. And since then, we have got a very good feedback regarding the content of NASA, how the educational side of it allows you to deploy content that costed millions of dollars that were only reachable by top scientists. And now we can bring that to every single kid in the world or every single person in the world with a low-cost device on their own cell phone. That's the partnership that we have. It's not a partnership; it's a working relation, as you mentioned. Correct.
So for the Go, let's talk a little bit about the specifications of the Go. It strikes me as being, how would I put it? I would say simple, but I mean that in a good way, because it works with different devices and so on. Do I need to be wearing my glasses when I'm using the Go?
No, you don't need. You need to adjust only the optics here. You remove your glasses, and then you adjust your optics here. We account for plus minus 2 dioptrics approximately, so you can switch without the glasses, and you can use your own Go personalized on that.
Wonderful. And what about field of view?
Well, the field of view depends on how close the lenses are to your eyes. Basically, it's a function also of the distance between the screen and the lenses. So when we adjust the dioptrics here on the system, if you go closer to the system, well, you get a wider field of view. It goes all the way to 110. But if you go all the way back, it goes to 90. So there's a range of the focus depending on the dioptrics and depending on the user. But it goes from 90 and up. Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, this is targeted, of course, to the smartphone market. You have other models of HMD in development. Can you tell us about them?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. The Go is intended for cell phone users and mobile phone users. So we have the Pro, and the Pro we have 2 divisions. We have the Pro, the Blue Sky Pro, and then we have the Pro G1. They both are targeted to provide a higher resolution per eye and a wider field of view per eye. So we have 130 degrees field of view on the Pro, both Blue Sky and Pro G1. And then we have full 1920 by 1080p definition per eye. And we're also working on a 2K version per eye. And that provides you with a different experience, immersive experience, where the user intended for professional applications, aerospace, medical, military, educational, they can provide their content in a radically new way. Now with this field of view, it's really immersive.
Wonderful. So now these are, of course, in development, but is the Go? I think the Go is actually readily available very soon, if not already. How can people get their hands on the Go?
Yeah, we were pre-selling this since November. So we accepted pre-orders already, and we're about to deliver the orders in this month. This is actually the production version now. It's finalized, and it's going through the quality control process before delivering the units. But this is available. You can go on our website. And this one is also available for the early adoption program partners that enroll into our program. They can get access to the prototypes and the development versions of the Pro, and they can start using it for their own development. And we're going to be having this by the end of February. It's going to be ready as a final product. I'm sharing pretty much all the architecture between the Go and the Pro. If you look at them from the side, they share the same optical engine regarding the mechanics, and all I do is I change the optics, so the optics are different. Yeah.
Wonderful. You have a relationship with Tiger Direct as well, right?
Correct. Yes, we have an exclusive distribution agreement with Tiger Direct since November. That's something that we discussed, and they have been selling the product directly. Yeah.
So, big question for you. What are your thoughts on standards in the immersive tech world, and what excites you and makes you, well, actually, let's go with that. What excites you about that, if indeed it does?
Right, it does. Yeah, well, it's interesting, Neil, because we went through the process of standardization with the 3D Blu-ray that we contributed a lot on the standards and the development. That they were much needed for a solid standardization process. In this case, virtual reality needs a set of standards from every single layer of the ecosystem, from cameras, acquisition, encoding, decoding, distribution, visualization. All that has to be addressed properly so the different systems and the different providers can interact. Right now we see a lot of 360 cameras. They all work differently. They all have different number of cameras. They all have different resolutions. They all are encoded differently. They are all packaged differently. So it's okay. I mean, they work as an option, but the user should not be concerned about what type of encoder or stitching process is going to be used or not, how many cameras, what the resolution. It should be seamless for the end user. It should be as easy as I get a video, I upload it, I download it, I sell it, I see it, I watch it, and I share it. As easy as that. And the only way to get to that point is by standardizing the interoperability between the different layers, and they are much needed, and including the ratings, the classification of the content. You know, you don't want people dying of a heart attack when watching a horror movie because they believe they could believe it's so real. So the same happens for the content intended for kids. Having a real image of a first-person shooter, you know, in a game is one thing, on a screen, to the screen is one thing, but looking at it as if you were inside the action can probably create some experiential post-traumatic effects that you don't want to go for. So, not if you're not the right age. So, or that you can handle it as a virtual experience.
That's good. I mean, it's important to acknowledge because these are their responsibilities, I take it, when we're talking about devices like this.
Exactly. We have to have the responsibility to assure the highest quality for the end user, to assure that it's going to be seamless and there's not going to be any hassle for the user or even the producers of content or the publishers of video games and applications. It has to be very easy for them to contribute with content, and it has to be very easy for the user to acquire and get that content. So that's why we're in pro of the standards, and we're fully committed to create a responsible industry and provide every kind of information that is required, every kind of you know, documentation or anything we can provide for the industry, just aiming to standardize it and make it, you know, the right way.
Wonderful. Well, always a pleasure. Thanks so much for joining us on MTBS.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you very much.
This is Neil Schneider for MTBS-TV at CES 2015. Back with more.